What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a drugstore first impression on a new foundation, and it is the Milani Conceal in Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. The shade that I ended up picking up for myself is 09 Tan. Right away when I went to go see if they had my shade was that the shade selection is kind of weird. Although I really do appreciate the fact that the shades are more on the tan side, there aren't any foundation shades that are great for fair skin tones. So right away I already saw that that was kind of a bummer. Also, every single store that I've gone to that carries Milani, it either goes to 1 to like 7, skips 8, goes to 9, and then ends right there. But when I go on to the Milani Cosmetics website, it has every single shade. So to me, that's kind of weird. Like, why would it go all the way through 7, skip 8, and then go straight to 9? That's kind of odd. So I'm hoping that 09 Tan matches me. So if you guys would like to see my first impressions on this foundation and how I applied it and all that stuff, then please continue watching. Before I go on and apply this foundation, I thought that it would be appropriate that I first apply the Milani primer. If you guys have seen my first drugstore impressions video, you guys have seen that I tried this out and fell in love with it, and I still am very much so in love with this primer. This is the Milani Prime Shield Face Primer, mattifying and pore minimizing, that is oil free. So I just like to apply very little of this to my T-zone, like so. First I like to just like sweep it on with my fingers and then kind of rub it in very gently, and then afterwards pat it. So yesterday I had already had plans that I knew I was going to do a first impressions video on this, but when I woke up this morning I looked in the mirror and I was like, this is the most appropriate video I could do today, because I woke up with the whole entire solar system on my face. So let's see if this really does work. So first, before I apply this, I am going to color correct. And the reason why I like to color correct in first impressions videos, especially when using a new foundation, is just so I know that the foundation will cover up any color correcting shades that I do apply to my face, just so I know that it really does work. Today, to color correct, I'm going to be using my ULTA Color Correct Concealer Palette, and I just like to use the green shade right here. It even tells you what it does. It's a redness corrector. So I'm just going to lightly dot that on any red blemishes that I have. And it may look like that I'm putting a lot, because I kind of am, but I will go back in with my finger and kind of dab it out and shear it out as well. Then with my finger, just dab that in a little bit more. My skin lately has been a little crazy. I know that this is just a hormonal breakout, because it is my time of the month to shine. So that is why my skin looks extra crazy. So I'm going to use my NYX Dark Circle Concealer in medium and apply a light layer of this right under my eyes to conceal my dark, shallow under there. Now for the foundation. I first want to read off of the Milani Cosmetics website and tell you what this foundation claims to do. It says that it combats under eye circles, redness, and other skin imperfections with this full coverage water resistant foundation plus concealer in one. A no drip mess. A no drip pump dispenses just the right amount of fluid needed to achieve a flawless look and works around the clock to keep the skin looking naturally perfect. And it also says that to apply this as a foundation, you apply a dime-sized amount with your fingertips and brush the beginning at the center of the face and blending outwards. And then it also gives you instructions on how to use this as just a concealer. It says, as a concealer, use a small amount of the product and apply where additional coverage is needed in a tapping motion until blended. I like that it gives you the option of wearing this as just a foundation or just as a concealer. So that's pretty awesome. On the Milani website, this retails for $9.99, and I got mine at Walmart, and I also got mine there for $9.99, so not a bad price at all. I love the packaging though because it does have a pump. I really do appreciate when drugstore foundations do have a pump, just because it is fairly inexpensive, and since it is inexpensive, I would think that it would have a pump anyways. So this does come with a pump. So I'm going to pump. Oh wow, it seems thick. So I pumped 2 pumps on the back of my hand, and I'm going to use a buffing brush from Real Techniques, and I'm going to see how this applies. It's not runny at all. Right away, like, I'm just thinking it's gonna be thick, honey. It doesn't really have a scent to it, which is good. Or does it? I don't know. Now that I am done applying the foundation onto my skin, I just applied 1 layer. I didn't even use both pumps. I do still see some discoloration coming through right here, but other than that, I'm so satisfied with this foundation. It does seem maybe a shade too dark, but I will see what I can do about lightening it a little bit with some powder. So I am going to go over this monstrosity right here for a little bit of extra concealing and coverage. I also thought that this foundation was going to be like completely matte, but it is not at all. I'd say it's about a satin finish, which is really nice. So like I said, I feel like this foundation is a tad too dark for me. I feel like 08 would be like my perfect shade, but they don't sell it 08 in stores. I don't get it. So I am going to continue on with my foundation routine, and I am now going to conceal my under eye circles with my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in medium. And I am just applying that to both of my under eyes, bridge of my nose, and the center of my forehead. Then I'm going to blend that out with my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. Oh my goodness. Next, I'm going to set my face using my Wet n Wild MegaGlo Contouring Palette in Caramel Toffee. And I'm going to use a Real Techniques Duo Fiber Face Brush and just apply a generous amount on my face, under my eyes, just so the foundation looks good. I actually really like the way the foundation looks on the skin, but the fact that it doesn't match my skin tone kind of sucks because I knew it wasn't going to match. But I'm sure it will in the summertime. Lastly, for my skin, I am going to contour using the same palette, but just the bronzing side. And to apply that bronzer, I'm going to be using my Real Techniques Duo Fiber Contour Brush. So now I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. So I am finally done doing the rest of my makeup and I am really impressed with this foundation. It does not look as dark as it did when I first applied it. I think that is because of the powder that I used today. It's obviously lighter than my skin tone, but I feel like it looks much better on my skin tone. It actually looks like it matches. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It feels very skin-like. It obviously isn't light, but it doesn't feel super duper heavy. I know when I first squeezed the 2 pumps on the back of my hand, it wasn't moving at all and it seemed very thick, but now that it has set on my skin for about an hour or 2, I really like the way it is on my skin. So far I definitely give this I definitely give this an 8 out of 10. The only reason why I don't give it a 10 out of 10 is just because of the shade selections. I feel like if they would have 1 through 10, maybe that would be better. And I also feel like if the lighter shades were actually much more lighter for fair skin tones, I feel like that would be better. But I really do appreciate the fact that Milani did kind of stick to the medium to deep skin tones, so that I really do appreciate. I hope that they do end up coming out with much more fair shades to this foundation. I think that would be awesome, and also I want them to at least have 08 out in stores instead of 1 through 7, skip 8, and then 9. To me that kind of doesn't make sense, and that's kind of a bummer because I honestly feel like I am 8 and every single store that I went to, they didn't have 8, and I was swatching them and I was like, how much you want to bet I am shade 08? And I think I am 08, so that kind of sucks. But I am not disappointed with 09, which is tan. I feel like this is kind of my more mid-summer shade, whereas 08 would be like my perfect shade now. But other than all of that, I have to say that this overall is a really good foundation. It has great coverage. It's obviously buildable because it did cover Planet Earth right here on my face. It also did a really good job around my nose. I tend to have a lot of separation around my nose no matter what foundation I use, and this is still holding up very well. So I'm really impressed with this foundation. I think that's all I have to say about this foundation. I will definitely let you guys know if my opinion changes later on down the road, but as of now, this foundation is Allie approved, and I will see you guys in my next drugstore first impressions video. Bye guys.